Recently, while grinding the Pokemon Showdown ladder, we thought of an interesting question. Which of the original 151 Pokemon has been the most reliable in the competitive scene across every single generation? You could go by popularity in the competitive scene, but with data on older generations being hard to find, the best way to truly get a feel for it is to build a team around a Pokemon in every gen. A few of the best candidates were Chansey, Starmie, and Alakazam, so naturally, we chose to bring up RNG 1 to 151, and we got 73. Tentacruel.
In Gen 1, Tentacruel really relied on Gen 1's broken mechanics for Wrap, with Blizzard and Surf to finish the job, or Toxic in niche situations. Despite his 70 base attack making wrapping a very slow process, being faster than the other main wrappers in Dragonite and Fire Spin Moltres with his 100 speed, made many Pokemon switch out or bank on good RNG to get out of Pokemon's equivalent of wobbling. With weaknesses to Electric, Psychic, and Ground attacks, however, most Pokemon that could outspeed him could also one-shot him, making Tauros, Starmie, Alakazam, Zapdos, Jolteon, and Gengar all very threatening provided that they weren't paralyzed. He did take Ice Beams really well, but his weaknesses made his usefulness very dependent on setting up correctly, or just forcing one switch before switching out himself. Lead Starmie makes his debut on this team thanks to his coveted Psychic typing, and access to Thunder Wave, support that Tentacruel desperately appreciates in its wobbling efforts. Its great bulk also makes it one of the best dedicated sleep absorbers in the tier. Thunderbolt is chosen over some of its more common moves, as this team desperately needs more answers to opposing Starmies. Chansey is used as well, though in a more offensive manner, as it is rocking the triple KO Chansey moveset. Ice Beam is used for hunting for freezes, Sing to incapacitate something, and Counter for surprise KOs. It's a great defensive pivot on much of the metagame while not sacrificing on momentum. A great addition to the team. Tauros is here because he's Tauros. We're running a no-nonsense set with Body Slam, Blizzard, Hyper Beam, and Earthquake. It's probably the best cleaner in the tier, and we need some solid offense and speed control. We want to win, so we use Tauros in Gen 1. Snorlax is set as a highly offensive one, as it's important to steal as many KOs as quickly as possible, given the high pace that this team operates at. Body Slam and Self-Destruct are self-explanatory, and Blizzard was chosen due to the team's weakness to Executor. Counter is also chosen for slightly better odds at beating opposing Tauros, as well as for blasting something if Tauros chooses to switch out, thanks to Gen 1's broken counter mechanics. And finally, what may have been observed from the team is that it has quite the weakness to Zapdos, and so Jolteon was chosen in the final slot. Rhydon was another great option, and its strength would have no doubt been a good fit, but his speed control and synergy with Tentacruel's ability to Wrap Pass was too good to pass up. Jolteon's defensive profile makes it a good dedicated Zapdos check, and with Tentacruel's Wrap support, a lot of its counters get shipped into Jolteon range, while Jolteon is repeatedly able to find safe switching opportunities thanks to Wrap. It's a lot like the more common Cloyster Jolteon core, but without the boring Cloyster. Our record in the first generation ended up being 8-2, which was quite solid. Honestly, we were surprised at how much work Tentacruel was able to put in. His Wrap ended up genuinely being useful, and not nearly as gimmicky as it sometimes seems. Even if it didn't kill too often, forcing switches was an important function. Additionally, he was surprisingly bulky, even considering his weaknesses to common attacking moves. We even ran into the ranked 1 player at the time, and came out with a win. The recording and analysis will be sent out in a later video.
When we entered Gen 2, Tentacruel was running a Swords Stance Mix Attacker set to help break through the legs of Snorlax while not being completely walled by the main defensive walls of the tier, Steelix, Skarmory, and Cloyster. Snorlax is the common Rest Lock double-edged set that's seen pretty much everywhere on the ladder. It was chosen to provide some much needed offensive momentum. It makes for a decent enough switch in on Zapdos, as well as Raikou. Raikou is primarily here due to the prevalence of Zapdos, and the lack of a truly sturdy check to one of the best Pokemon in the metagame. It would have been nice to run a Zapdos for offense, but the special frailty of Tentacruel and Fortress requires a good, solid special wall. Fortress was chosen as the dual Spiker and Rapid Spin of the team, as roll compression is really needed. It was chosen over the more standard Cloyster due to the lack of an electric weakness, and the more reliable ability to punish the presence of Skarmory and Gengar teams thanks to Hidden Power Ghost and its toxic community. Tyranitar is a mix of a physical wall and sweeper against Mixed Curse and Fire Blast Snorlax sets. It's a good offensive Pokemon, and a solid wall to many threatening Pokemon that would otherwise be difficult to handle, such as most Gengar, Snorlax, and Jinx variants, along with many defensive walls such as Skarmory, Fortress, and Raikou. Skarmory is our catch-all physical wall and phaser, something essential with Snorlax being on literally every team. Drolbeck is here to beat down Fortress in a 1v1 if need be, and Toxic and Roland are there to rack up residual damage and put the opposing team into Tentacruel range. We ended this slow-paced generation with a record of 8-2. Not bad for our least favorite generation out of all of them. First, our Tyranitar netted us a lot of our wins, and swept more often than not, often being able to pick up where Tentacruel left off in the wall-breaking department. Raikou and Skarmory performed exceptionally well, and proved such a great defensive synergy that keeping offensive Pokemon in good condition was very, very easy. Fortress did his job well enough, and Snorlax did decently as well. Tentacruel's offensive presence was felt often, and it found so many switching opportunities thanks to the team's ability to force in bulky water types. Sludge Bomb's poison chance was also huge for opening the door to get Pokemon in on his after their Snorlax set had been forced to rest.
Tentacruel's set this time around is similar to his Gen 2 set, a mixed wall breaker, while slotting in Lumberry as its item to give it the opportunity to set up on Blissey in a pinch. Clear Body is a great ability, helping to guard against Intimidate, which is very common and present on many teams. And its poison typing and great natural bulk help it find setup opportunities on many Pokemon, specifically Milotic and Suicune. Jolteon is the lead of choice on this team, thanks to its solid matchup against Zapdos, an extremely obnoxious threat, and its fast Baton Pass. The ability to Baton Pass substitutes helps the relative frailty of the team, and creates more opportunities for threats like Mixed Tyranitar and Tentacruel to get in safely and wreak havoc. It's the revenge killer of the team as well, so keeping it alive for the late game is absolutely essential. Hidden Power Ice was chosen over HP Grass due to the need to revenge kill dragons like Flygon and Salamence, and this allows T-Tar to be a dedicated Swampert lure. Magneton makes its appearance to do what it was born to do, which is KO Skarmory. This isn't as essential in future generations due to Stealth Rock and boosting items like Choice Specs, but while Tentacruel is running this physical set, it absolutely needs Skarmory removed to have a shot at breaking through the opposing team. Magneton also helps in the removal of Choice Band Metagross, and it can be an emergency stop to Dragon Dancers, thanks to the combo of Endure and Slackberry. Dugtrio helps aid in the trapping effort as well, though more in the effort of removing Tyranitar and Metagross for Tentacruel. Helping to pick off other annoying threats like a weakened Blissey, offensive Celebi, and Jirachi is great as well, and helps open holes to isolate matchups Tentacruel excels in, like the aforementioned bulky Waters. Mixed Tyranitar is a good fit for the team as well. It helps trap Gengar, which is important for the sweeping efforts of Jolteon and Tentacruel, as well as bait in and remove obnoxious walls such as Swampert, Blissey, and opposing T-Tar. The bulk is important for duking it out against Monosurf Swampert and Gengar, and its big brain EVs go towards hitting certain calculated benchmarks, such as guaranteed 2-hit KO on Swampert and Blissey. Finally, Claydol lands a spot on the team as a dedicated check to Dragon Dance Tyranitar and Aerodactyl, two of the scariest offensive Pokemon in the tier. Explosion helps to also remove annoying walls or pivots, like Gyarados, Flygon, and Zapdos. Protect gives extra leftover healing, and Rapid Spin support is also quite nice for helping Jolteon and Tentacruel maintain enough health to come in safely near the end of the game. This set is entirely walled by Skarmory and Gengar, so their removal is vital for facilitating Claydol during a game. We ended our 10 games with a record of 5-5. We couldn't end with an even record though, so we played one more additional game to break the tie, and unfortunately lost, netting us with our only losing record out of all the generations. This team just didn't quite come together as planned. We ran into surprisingly fewer Skarmory than expected, which made Magneton a liability in the majority of our games. Tentacruel got walled too often, even if it was able to safely set up a Swords Dance. T-Tar and Claydol were mediocre performers, which left us with pretty much Jolteon and Dugtrio versus the world. Not our proudest moment, but we came back swinging in Generation 4.